Today I'm going to be talking about a ton of chronic health issues and how to solve them. So I'll be going over if you do struggle with IBS, IBD, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, any types of those types of issues. Also, if you struggle with weight loss resistance, I'll be going into deep into these topics. And then if you have any questions while I'm going deep into this, please ask them. Please ask your questions if you have any. I think this is going to be a really good topic of discussion for you to truly understand taking a root cause approach, because you could be someone that struggles with all these chronic health issues from PCOS, hormonal imbalances, gut problems, weight loss resistance, thyroid imbalances, and taking these medications, but you still don't feel well. And it's because the root cause is not addressed. And in many conventional, obviously Western medicine, they do not focus on the root cause. And even in conventional weight loss methods, they do not focus on getting to the root cause. They'll cut your calories, they'll tell you to train more, they'll tell you to take medication, but yet you don't feel well. So that's exactly what we're going to be going over here. So big thing here is that I really do want to talk about gut health, because millions of Americans, millions of people struggle with poor gut health, and really it all begins in your gut. So with that being said, if you have acid reflux, if you have chronic bloating, if you have constipation, if you have diarrhea, even if you have skin issues and fatigue issues and hormonal issues, these all can be stemmed back to poor gut health. Your gut houses trillions of bacteria, and it's also known as your second brain, because a lot of neurotransmitters are brain chemicals that help you feel good, that help you with mood, motivation. And if those neurotransmitters aren't getting properly communicated between your gut and your brain, it will cause you to have mental health issues. So, also, like I talked about, your liver and your thyroid, or your thyroid, I should say, also is drastically relates to your gut health. Okay, because a ton of your thyroid hormone gets converted inside of your gut. So it all begins in your gut. So that's why the first step we're focusing on is healing and fixing your gut. Because with that, many individuals will lose weight, they'll have more energy, they'll get all these benefits, because at the core of it, it's poor gut health. Because if you have an inflamed gut, if you have a leaky gut, if you have a dysbiotic gut, if you have a dysbiosis in your gut, you can't absorb anything that you're eating. You deal with neural inflammation coming from leaky gut, so now you have brain inflammation. You are not having proper thyroid balance, you're not having proper hormonal imbalance or balance. So what that means is that your body isn't properly converting hormone correctly, thyroid hormone correctly. This will lead you to hypothyroidism. And with a leaky gut, most causes of leaky gut, or I should say most root causes to autoimmune issues like Hashimoto's, is leaky gut. So that's kind of why it all begins, as the gut is the foundation of it. So what are the things that you could be doing every single day that is disrupting your gut, that it isn't causing the inflammation, that then is causing you the chronic health issues that you're suffering with? Well, majority of things is things like alcohol, too much coffee / caffeine. Overstimulating your adrenal glands will slow down your gut motility, the movement of food throughout the digestive tract. This will lead you to build up a bacteria to ferment inside your gut. This will lead to SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. But not only that, it will lead to hypochlorhydria. It will lead to low stomach acid. These low stomach acid now is going to create an environment for an overgrowth of bacteria known as H. pylori, which about 50% of people struggle with in America. This is legitimate statistics. So with all these things that you're doing, that's inflaming your gut, that's causing dysbiosis, it's leading you to malabsorption of fat-soluble nutrients. So what that means is that all the fats that you're eating that have those nutrients like vitamin A, D, E, K, even selenium and iodine, these nutrients that you need for your thyroid gland and for hundreds of biological processes for your internal physiology, they're not getting absorbed. And so what's happening is that you are leading to nutrient deficiencies. So you have these nutrient deficiencies, you are taking all these stimulants, you are having specific foods that you could be intolerant to or sensitive to, and now you're causing immune system upregulation. And this is probably the biggest thing that I see. So if you're eating foods that you're intolerant to, your immune system's intolerant to, it will start to overact your immune system. And what will happen is that this food that you eat, like let's say gluten, and you don't know you're gluten sensitive, or even dairy, or even just common healthy foods that you're sensitive to, your body will look at that food as it is an antigen. And so now the body will make a self defense mechanism in a way of creating antibodies. So this is ANA testing. This is thyroid antibody testing. And so now what's going to happen is that the food that you just ate, the intolerant food that you just ate, is going to cause an immune system issue. So it's going to cause Hashimoto's further. It's going to cause rheumatoid arthritis. It's going to cause joint pain. It's going to cause brain fog. So this is all stemming back to poor gut health, because a lot of people have hormone issues such as PMS, PCOS, irregular cycles, heavy periods, low sex drive, can't lose weight, hypothyroidism, and it's all stemming back to poor gut health because it all is related to your gut. Now, there is issues where it's not actually related to your gut, that's related to other things, but I'll get into that. I'll start with the gut though, because that's where the majority of issues occur. So these things are inflaming your gut, it's causing leaky gut, it's causing all those things. So you really got to focus on removing those things. Now, also, I do want to talk about stress. In terms of HPA axis and adrenal dysfunction, adrenal insufficiency is also some other things that you can call it. And I think this is a very important topic for discussion because people talk about stress management, talk about managing stress, but what is the legitimate science or what is the legitimate physiology of that? So your body releases something called CRH, which is called corticotropin releasing hormone from your hypothalamus to your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland then hears that message. Both these are in your brain, and it releases something called ACTH, which is adrenal corticotropic releasing hormone. It signals to your adrenal glands, which are located on top of your kidneys. Your kidneys then release cortisol and catecholamines, known as norepinephrine, adrenaline, epinephrine, and these type of adrenal hormones. So here's the issue. When your body, also, it releases something called DHEA. So that's actually very important if you're a female, because when your adrenals are releasing DHEA, they feed into what are a bunch of your sex hormones. So sex hormones are things like your estrogen, your testosterone, your progesterone, your androgens. Basically, the hormones you want for your menstrual cycle, the hormones you want to feel good, and the hormones you want to even look good. So here's the thing. When you're producing too much cortisol, it's not going to help make those other hormones from DHEA. And we see this, and I see this through Dutch hormone testing, which I'm giving you for free right now with my Black Friday promotion. But it's not going to be making those DHEA hormones, so this is going to lead you to low testosterone, or, and I see this as well, in cases of PCOS, you're going to be producing too much DHEA. So now your adrenals are going to get, or not your adrenals, but your testosterone is going to get higher. This is going to cause you to have facial hair as a female. It's going to cause you to have a, let's say, deeper voice because you're going to have more testosterone. Ovarian cysts, it's going to cause you to have all these because now you have high testosterone. So if your body is producing cortisol all day, your body's going to stay stuck in fight or flight, which is called sympathetic dominance. So fight, flight, it's going to be going all day. And this is going to start to suppress thyroid hormone. So this is why you have hair loss when you're very stressed out, because it's your thyroid. Your thyroid has to play with collagen synthesis. Collagen, you might take it for your skin, hair, and nails. Well, it actually is influenced by your thyroid gland. So with that being said, what's going to happen is now TSH is going to rise, which we can get into a whole topic how thyroid testing is faulty, and it's been shown super faulty, but TSH is going to rise. T3 and T4 is going to be lower. In cases sometimes though, T4 might be low. And then T3, which is the actual form you want of thyroid hormone, is going to be low. So this is going to lead you to a hypothyroid state. And then you might not know this, but something called reverse T3, which is the inactive form of thyroid, is going to increase. But you don't know this because your endocrinologist or whatever, your doctor, primary care physician, whoever, is not testing a full thyroid panel. So like I said, that could be a whole topic in itself. Just like most hypothyroid issues are actually Hashimoto's, actually 90% to be exact, because they don't test their antibodies, you never know. So like I said, this is a whole different topic, but going back to what we're talking about, stress, HPA axis, adrenal dysfunction, These things are relevant to you because they're the reason to why you can't lose weight. Because I was talking to this client earlier, and so, the first thing we need to do is really deload the stress. We need to help with lowering the cortisol that's getting released from our adrenal glands. Because if you want to lose weight, that's probably the first thing that you can do. The first thing you want to do to lose weight is probably the opposite of what you're doing, because everything works until you work it for too long. That's exactly what you're doing, because you're eating healthy and you're saying that you're exercising, but most likely you just are over stressing, which is causing you digestive upset. It's causing hormonal imbalances and all these things. So here's the thing: when your adrenal glands produce cortisol for too long, okay, when your adrenal glands are coming out for too long, when they're producing cortisol all day, there's going to be a time where it's going to pretty much give up on you. So now what's going to happen is that your body's not going to make cortisol anymore. And so this is really what's called adrenal dysfunction, adrenal insufficiency. So what I'm talking on, here, I'll connect to, there we go. Just connect to the Wi-Fi. So what I was talking about is that when your adrenal glands are going to be producing cortisol all day, it's going to give up on you one day. Let's say that. And it can't make cortisol anymore. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have flatline cortisol. And now, since you don't get a cortisol spike, it's not going to actually help with your fat loss, because you need cortisol for insulin response. You need cortisol for fat loss. And you need a ton of other things like insulin, and you need thyroid hormone. And most likely you might be dealing with dysregulation in all of them. So that's a big reason to why people are weight loss resistant, meaning you can't lose weight no matter what you do, because all these hormones are off. So with that being said, this is why you might feel depressed. You don't have any energy after a full night of sleep. This is why you also could drink a bunch of coffee, but still deal with, let's say, still feeling tired, all those things. So this is all important because it's the true reason to why you're not seeing the progress that you want. So let's get into Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. So if you're watching this and you deal with that, or you just deal with any of these issues, this is going to dramatically help, because like I talked about, your endocrinologist, primary care physician, they're incredible people. They save your life, but they're not going to help you with chronic health issues, meaning issues that are lasting more than 6 months. And so what that means is that if you are dealing with this issue, such as hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, their main treatment is T4 medication. So this is going to be levothyroxine or Synthroid. Now, some people might use T3 medication like Armour, Cytomel, and some people might take a compound or more natural form like thyroid NP or NP thyroid, however you want to pronounce it. Nonetheless, this is all thyroid medication, and nonetheless, you still aren't losing the weight. You still don't feel well taking these. So something has to be wrong, and that's 100% what we're going to talk about. So here's the thing. You could be taking this thyroid medication, but you could not even be absorbing it because you're dealing with gut issues. You could also be not even converting it properly because you have a poor gut health. You could not be converting this hormone that you're taking into the active form because you have a nutrient deficiency. So no matter, here's another one. You could not be getting this hormone into the cell, meaning you're making enough T3 hormone, but it's not getting into the cell due to toxicity. So there's tons of, you could also be dealing with thyroid issues because your estrogen is too high because you have a backed up liver or you have high insulin. Okay, so there's many things that, okay, taking medication could be incredibly great for you, but it's still not working because all these other things are in dysfunction. It's not, in where we want to be. So let's talk about something that you might not know. And so hopefully you learned something new, and that's something called cellular hypothyroidism. So here's the thing. Your thyroid labs could look normal, but you don't feel normal. We know that. We've been through that. And the thing is because your cells are not hearing the message of thyroid hormone. See, your cells have receptor sites for different hormones. And if there's a layer of inflammation or toxicity, most likely toxicity, from the environment we live in today, from your body not being able to detox efficiently and properly, which we focus on in our first step, then it's going to not let the hormone that's getting made get into the cell to be used for its physiological function, meaning you're not going to feel it. You're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the metabolism. You're not going to have the weight loss. And that's all due to this toxicity that's on the cellular level. So hopefully this is all making sense, because right now we're honing in on thyroid health. So you could be taking the medication or not. No matter what you're doing, you're not making enough thyroid hormone. Well, actually, you could be making enough thyroid hormone, but it's not getting into the cell. Okay. Now, a big thing too is that we talked about stress a little bit before, if you've been watching or listening. And the thing is that let's say you have a stress issue. So now your body's not making enough sex hormones. So you actually have something called progesterone steal, something called pregnenolone steal. And that's when you have made so much stress hormones that your body has stole from your other hormones, because it doesn't need to make sex hormones. It needs to make more cortisol because I need it. My body's in fight or flight. I need the cortisol. So now it takes from pregnenolone or progesterone. And progesterone is what you use for your luteal phase of your cycle if you're a female. Okay, progesterone is a very calming, anti-inflammatory, helps with glutamate, very good for you. But if you have low progesterone, that will lead to thyroid issues. Okay, so you have low progesterone, it's going to lead to thyroid issues. It is also going to lead to high estrogen. That's going to also impair your thyroid gland, because it's going to increase thyroid binding globulin. So this is TBG. And that means it's going to trap up your free thyroid hormone that you want to make active thyroid hormone. Nonetheless, you have to reduce your cortisol. You have to fix your leaky gut. You have to reduce the inflammation in your gut. And you have to get the right adequate nutrient status to help with the deodoinase enzymes needed to convert the inactive form T4 into the active form T3. Because just like I broke down cortisol, I will break down thyroid real quick. So your thyroid releases TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone, from the hypothalamus. It signals to your pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland, these are both located in your brain, is going to release TSH. TSH, you know this because you get tested for it. And then it signals to your thyroid gland, okay, which is located, above or below your Adam's apple, or above, one of the two. Nonetheless, it's going to create T4, a little bit of T3, but barely. It's going to create T4, and that T4 has to convert into the active form. The active form is how you feel. And if you're very stressed out and inflamed, it's going to reverse. It's not going to make the T3. It's going to go into reverse T3. So hopefully you're getting this down. And then it's a negative feedback loop, meaning it's a cycle. But here's the thing, that conversion of T4 into T3 is going to not just happen in your thyroid gland. And that's where the issue is with allopathic medicine, Western conventional medicine, seeing your doctor at Mayo, seeing whatever. That's the issue. They think it's just thyroid gland eccentric. That's the problem. And it's been shown that not. And even if it hasn't been shown, why is it that when I help someone's gut, I get them adequately nutrient sufficient, that they have better thyroid hormone? Because all these things support their thyroid function. But it is true. It is studied. It is like that. So let's talk about reactive oxygen species. So a lot of people have mitochondrial dysfunction, meaning the ATP from their cells are not producing energy anymore because they're so inflamed, they're so toxic. And so what you need to do is fix your mitochondrial dysfunction. And most likely the first step is to initiate a detox out of your body. You need to help with detoxification. Now, I can't stress enough how important proper detoxification is. And I didn't want to get into detoxification, but if you're following along, this is important because your body, there's a whole process that goes on inside of your liver. So your doctor might say that you don't need any support for your liver for detox, but Yeah, if it was like the 1800s, but today it's 2024, we need support for our liver because the toxins in our environment has just become so high that we can't keep up detox anymore. So you need support for your liver because your liver is your body's main chief detoxifier. So what I mean by that is that your body has a biotransformation process where it neutralizes fat soluble toxins that are accumulated in your fat tissue and that are accumulated in your body, and then neutralizes it or conjugates it. Well, it neutralizes it and then conjugates it for you to excrete it. So it turns it fat soluble to water soluble, conjugates it so you can excrete it, your sweat, urine, stool, all these things, so it can actually leave your body. So all these things are important because if you don't have a good functioning liver, well, forget feeling good, looking good, or any of those things because that's not going to happen. And then let's talk about all the other issues you might have. You might have leaky gut. You have an inflamed gut. You have so much stress. So now we're just stacking them. We're stacking them. And this is why after taking one supplement or trying one meal plan or trying one diet, you don't feel better because you need to address all these things. You need to address all these things. Okay. So many people have mitochondrial dysfunction, leaky gut, SIBO, adrenal dysfunction. Now, I'm not saying you might specifically, if you're listening to this, watching this, or hearing this, it's all about the load that you have. So people are living in a state of such residual inflammation that they're fine, but then after one thing, they just go haywire. And you might know this because you might see someone who looks fine, but then a week later, after they broke their hip or whatever, they're not. They're severely sick and ill because it was just that one thing they needed, or that one thing that happened that really just broke the camel's back, or that analogy. So uh, the biggest thing though is fixing your gut, fixing your liver, fixing your adrenals, fixing your thyroid, fixing your insulin levels. And we do that all here at Complete Vitality, and we get you the results, and we make sure we guarantee them. So also a big thing is what we have here is that we have HRT therapy, if need be. Now, it's not the first line of defense what I'm doing with females, because majority of the things, even if I gave them HRT, they're still not gonna. You're not gonna respond to it if you have these underlying problems. So that's the first thing. But if you are in, let's say, perimenopause or menopause mainly, HRT therapy could be what could drastically benefit your life. If you're healing your gut, getting your thyroid back into health, reducing the inflammation are all going to dramatically help. So if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone that you might know, because remember, I just gave you a ton of information, hopefully, that you're able to understand to why you don't feel good, and understand why you might be taking medication and not feeling well, and understand why you can't lose the weight no matter what. So if you're looking for actual help, because right now I have a Black Friday offer here. I just started it the other day. So right now for the promotion, we're doing a free Oura Ring, which is a fitness tracker. And if you don't want the Oura Ring, we'll give you something else. And then we're giving you a free functional lab test. This is going to be a GI map or a Dutch test. One is a hormone test. One is a DNA stool analysis test. I really recommend it for people that have gut issues, autoimmune issues, thyroid issues. It all begins in your gut. But then Dutch hormone testing is great for PMS, PCOS, perimenopausal issues, or any of these things. Really, they're both great tests. And then 3 months of coaching for free. So that's essentially what we're doing for the Black Friday promotion. So just text me Black Friday or root cause. It doesn't really matter. Text me one of those things that we can actually initiate a conversation to see if I can even help you, because I'm not just going to take anyone for this offer. We got to make sure that this is going to work. So if you're interested in that, and if you have any questions, let me know, and hopefully this was helpful. So